Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show. We're on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow, and we are delighted to be back. And the headlines on our first show back, getting ready for the new season, Roughie, is of course the SPFL. They met today, and the news coming out, of course, first of all, that they've signed a deal to get Scottish football on Chinese television. It's £500,000 a year, so a good deal there. As far as other news with regards to selection of board members, Anne Budge, the owner of Hearts, has failed to get a seat on the board. And since we've been away on our holly bags, there's been a few changes as far as European football. One team is already out from Scotland, and another team is hanging by a thread. So quite a bit to talk about, as well as ins and outs at some of the clubs across all the divisions in Scotland. Our guest is Des McKeown. I'm delighted to get Des back with us. He's been, scouring New York for concerts from country and western stars, but we're delighted that Des is back here with us. And of course, Roughie, great to have you back as well, because you've been just parading across America everywhere and anywhere for your hauls.
Yeah, I had a wee trip about America. Yeah, I had my first taste of rounders or baseball, as they call it over there, and give me football any day.
Yeah, just wasn't for you.
It just wasn't happening at all. You know?
Too long?
I didn't understand the rules. I didn't understand, who was out, who was in, who was batting, what the score was. I just hadn't a clue what was happening to it. But the beer was good.
No, that's fine. I think the other good thing about it from our point of view is Peter and Roughie's football show in China could be a real match winner, I think.
Yes, I certainly can. I mean, it's one out the bag, isn't it? I mean, fair dues, it's more money in the game. Not a lot of money, but it's money coming in, and I'm sure the clubs will embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did mention that it's our first show back. Of course, we had lots of shows that we recorded throughout the summer, some real specials. Hopefully you enjoyed the best of in our Legends series as well, because there were some great footballers from the past that we had a chance to interview, Roughie.
Yep, and without singling out anybody, which I am going to do, I thought Pat Stanton was magnificent.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the stories. Obviously I had Pat as a manager at Hibs, but it gave us a lot of wee gold times, at Hibs, and mentioned a lot of players, and talking about Hibs versus Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
It was indeed. I'm really looking forward to the season ahead. I'm really intrigued, Des, by the clubs and their signing policy and what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think obviously there's been a number of players coming into a number of the clubs, Peter. I think there's still quite a bit of business to be done. I think it's always interesting to see how the kind of the domino effect impacts on Scottish clubs, because the Scottish clubs are trying to sign particular players. They might need to wait until parent clubs bring in other players in England, and then we try to get loan deals, etc. Obviously Celtic have brought in a number. Rangers, understandably, have had to bring in quite a few, and I'm sure they've got a right few to go yet. And Hamilton Accies, have brought in a number of bodies as well. So I think there's still more signings to come, but at this stage, I think some of the managers will be delighted with some of the captures.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about some of the ins and outs on tonight's programme, and no doubt all the way up until the start of the season. As far as today, the SPFL were having their AGM, Roughie, and the China deal is good. The more money comes into the game, the better. As far as the board's concerned, I don't think anybody really thought there was going to be any of the members of the board heading out the way. The general feeling was that nobody was really going to get on that board. Anne Budge, just one of the high-profile names to miss out.
Yeah, I think she was disappointed. We hear about all the good things she's been doing at Tynecastle, and it might have been a breath of fresh air for having somebody like that in there. But obviously, there are procedures to get to that level. You have to go through all the committees and everything. And she's only been in the game now a year and a half, but I think she'll have something to play in the future. Yeah,
maybe too early for her, or maybe just some people set in their ways didn't want to go off the board too early themselves.
I think that's probably more like it, Peter. I think self-preservation has always been prevalent in Scottish football. I think that the board members, there are certain constants within the top divisions board, and I don't think that Anne Budge at this stage was, and pardon the pun, I don't think she was going to budge any of them.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen her involved. I think what she has kind of looked over and brought to Tynecastle has been remarkable in so many different areas. not just in terms of the finance to assist the fans buyout of the club and coming out of administration, but also little things, corporate social responsibility, the Save the Children on the strips, all these kind of things. I think Roughie said a breath of fresh air. I think Budge would have been a breath of fresh air when, you know, in the modern game we're always talking about inclusion and getting more women involved as well. I think that would have been a real statement of intent if the SPFL had embraced or brought her on board.
Yeah, this season, I think the disappointment before a ball is kicked, Roughie, is we've watched St Johnstone go out of Europe and Inverness hanging by a thread, and I think that's a measure still of how far we've got to go to get the clubs even stronger so that they can at least get into some form of group stage. Aberdeen's result, I think, was magnificent, and I don't think Celtic anticipate too many problems in the return leg against Stjarnan.
No, it has been a failing throughout the years, for going back 7 or 8 years, that these particular clubs have failed miserably at the beginning and everybody else has suffered, you know, to get the points, to get us more clubs in the certain competitions. But certainly, you know, you're hoping teams like Aberdeen can get a wee run and get into the final stages. Yeah,
don't forget you can interact with us all throughout the season. You can give us your thoughts at Peter and Roughie on Twitter and of course facebook.com/Peter and Roughie, and you can join us there as well. Post your pictures of being at some of the games in Scotland, or indeed anything you want us to talk about. We'll be more than happy to get back to you over the course of the season as well, but the most immediate one at Peter and Roughie on Twitter. So Aberdeen, there's a positive result. I think all the Dons fans hankering back to those great days in European football, you've got to give them full marks. I know that it certainly caused a few shocks across Europe, that result. 3-0 away from home. Job still to be done at Pittodrie.
Absolutely, Peter, but I think you can't underestimate how big a result that is. You know, Croatian football, particularly club level, very talented players, very technically gifted players, and Aberdeen have gone over there and by all reports, you know, the team that they've played have been a good team. Aberdeen have just dug out an unbelievable result, and that can only be good. Going back to the European football side of things, I always just feel that, you know, St Johnstone, you know, have literally gone straight into European football off the back of 2 or 3 bounce games. I think for us to be able to compete in Europe, the European qualifying stages, I think we almost certainly have to look at when the season starts for us, if we're going to be serious about it, because Aberdeen, Inverness, Celtic even, and St Johnstone are playing within 2 or 3 weeks of getting the squad back together.
Yep, I take your point, Des. I just think the other aspect of it as well, I mean, it's a very good point on when we should start the season, Roughie, but I think the other point is we're not good enough.
We're certainly not good enough when you see the teams we're coming up against. Most of the teams in that competition, we don't know who they are. We can't even pronounce half of the names. But if you look at it now, there are no turnovers. There's no. If you look at most of the games, it's the odd goal or the away goal. These clubs coming in for these countries are very well organised and they're not getting turned over. Yeah.
Would you accept that, Des? I mean, I think we almost have to up our game. That's why
I think if Celtic had played Maribor November, December time, I think the result would have been different, Peter.
Well, it's interesting.
I think the teams need
because
longer time to gel, because invariably the Scottish scene is such that it's take Celtic out of the equation, maybe Aberdeen out of the equation.
Yeah.
St Johnstone are operating 1-2 year contracts. They're generally having to rebuild teams almost every season because their best players, a la Stevie May, move on, whatever it might be, through injuries. Murray Davidson out for a particular period of time previously. I think if they had a longer lead-in time to the European games, would have a far better chance of progressing. That's not to say that the level we're playing at is actually good enough.
Yeah.
But I just think that we need to give ourselves every opportunity. How we do it, it's an incredibly difficult situation. But I just know that St Johnstone come back something like the 14th, 15th of June, and they're out of Europe by, you know, second week in July.
Yeah.
It's not ideal preparation. And if we're really serious about getting our coefficient up and getting more European football, then do we need to look at it? That's the point.
Yeah, I think on the Celtic point, you know, Celtic probably could have performed better against Maribor late November, but the mitigating circumstances were Ronnie Dyler was building a team. Yeah. You know, now he's got a settled side and he's just tinkering with it now with the quality additions.
Yeah, well, I think maybe by that November he would have known that he had to play Chris Commons when he never.
Yeah.
That might have made the difference. You might have got to know the players a wee bit more as well.
You just wouldn't let that go, would you? You just can't let that go.
12 months later, he's still
exactly, he's still hanging on that one. Anyway, I'm sure you'll have your own opinion on it. Don't forget to tweet us and we'll react to that all the way through the season. We are back with the shows looking ahead to the big kick-off. Give us your thoughts on the players that you've signed for your team as well. Join us after the break. We'll look at some of the ins and outs across all the divisions.